Party popper, party popper, party popper.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to Mechs on Deck. Today we've got a special one for you. We've got a special one for you. We're debuting a brand new Switch, the Switch that Dave and I helped create, in a sense. Took our favorite parts and what we wanted to make, and we put them together and created a Switch called the Anubis Switch. Yeah, to answer Unselfish 2968 chat, in my experience, my favorite way to clean mouse pads or desk mats is if you have the like soft and gentle or whatever, the white bottle of Tide, Free and Gentle, I think that's what it's called. That is really good to use because it's not very aggressive at all. You can use that with a very, very soft bristle brush and do that in your sink, and then let it hang dry. So that's what I would do. Get some Tide Free and Gentle. It's also a good way to wash microfiber cloths for those of you who like to detail cars out there, or you have other microfiber cloths. Get yourself some Tide Free and Gentle, and it'll be a good way to get it in there. It's not a very aggressive cleaner. It gets the job done. Doesn't add any additional like aggressive scent or anything to it. So yeah, exactly, and it's good for the skin. It's not aggressive on the skin, I guess, is more of the proper way to say. But yeah, welcome to the stream, everyone. Let me go ahead and let you see these switches, and we'll talk a little bit about them, and then we're gonna do some testing. All right. So basically, the plan for today is so first and foremost, here are the switches. Let me get one out. So this is the Anubis Switch. It is manufactured by Duroc. It is a Duroc switch. Should I have a switch opener here? Let me take one apart and show you each piece individually. This is very, if you can't tell, this is our logo colors. This is our colors. So it's a full nylon switch. So you have a opaque top housing, a palm stem. The stem has the same tactile profile and long pull like a Moyu Black or an Everglide Dark Jade if you've not messed around with that. So it does have a longer pull. So it'll be a little bit harsher bottom out, a little bit faster bottom out. Similar to, in the same vein as a Halo Clear or True and what is in a Holy Panda. 65 gram spring stock. And then this, it may not look translucent because it's such a dark color, but this is in fact a translucent bottom housing. You can kind of see it a little bit there. It is in fact a translucent housing. See if I can, yeah, it wants my hand behind it. But you can kind of see it there. You can see my hand through. It is translucent. And what that does, as many of us know, and if you don't know, this is a thing, the housing being just translucent versus opaque, even if it is the same material, will change the sound. I think regardless of the material being the same, it will slightly change the sound. Typically a full translucent housing switch will be a little bit snappier, a little bit brighter of a sound to it, whereas a opaque top or full opaque housing will be slightly deeper sounding. It'll be slightly darker. So this, you have the snap when it hits the bottom, and then it's a little bit more subdued on the return. Similar to the switch that Dave or Chewy created, the Zycos, which are now of Franken Switch fame. That was where this kind of idea came from. So this was basically, this whole switch stemmed from conversations that Dave and I had about gripes with the Zyco just being a switch that, one, was really expensive, two, was hard to make and maintain because of the failure rate of it due to the switches not really being made to go together. Around that time, this was about early spring last year, I messed around with a Moyu Black, which, if you're not familiar, this is a Moyu Black. And I really enjoyed this. I built a Kepler with these switches, and I thought they were great. And I was like, then the dark amber T1s and the lavenders came out, and I was talking with Chewy, and we were like, what would happen if you put a Moyu Black top and a Moyu Black stem on a Everglide, a dark amber T1 or a lavender bottom? What would happen there? And we tried it out. We both really, really liked it. And then we had wanted to do this for a while. We just weren't 100% sure about all the different pieces and all the ways to do it. And then we hit up Upas from Canon Keys, which, shout outs to Upas. Thank you for the tier 1 for 18 months. And we were like, hey, can we do this? Can we make a switch? You don't offer, and there's actually really not many people other than Drop and KP Republic who offer the Moyu Black Duroc variant. And he was like, yes, let's do it. And we did it, and we wanted to do it in our colors because I think it looks pretty cool. I think it looks like a pretty cool switch. Similar to a lilac, but the lilacs don't have the longer pole. So this will have a faster bottom out than a lilac, but this also has the translucent bottom, unlike a lilac, which is fully opaque. So also the build command is not set up because we're not focusing on the build because we're doing some testing in another board by Canon Keys that I know more and more of these will be coming out soon, and that's the Bakken Neko. This is my tester board. This is going to allow us to test out these switches. I'm going to put them all together. I'm going to put this together, and then we're going to see kind of how it sounds from a stock. These switches are 100% stock. I haven't done anything to them. I want to put the board together, see how it feels and see how it sounds. And then I'm going to take a couple and I'm going to change around some springs. I'm going to do some lubing. They are factory lubed, similarly to, in the exact same process as the lavenders or the dark ambers, the T1 dark amber switches. And so they may not need much or really any lube, but I want to find that out today. So we're gonna mess around with them, throw them here in our Bakken Neko, and test them out, and then figure out exactly what spring we want to use, how spring and lube changes the way that they sound. Obviously, this will be slightly darker of a sound due to the FR4 plate than if you had a brass or aluminum or other metal plate. So yeah, we've already got our stabs they're all lubed from when we used them a few weeks back when we built this did testing with the hippos and the lavenders. I have a feeling, based on my messing around, I couldn't help it, but both Dave and I were messing around with these earlier, And I have a feeling, again, the Symmetric Springs might be the way to go on these. So, but let's go ahead and get into this, and let's take a look at them. But if you are interested in these switches, if you're watching me do this today and you're like, man, these look great, they sound great, he's talking about how they feel pretty good, hit ~ Anubis in the chat. They are available now over at canonkeys.com. So yeah, we're very excited about these. We're very, very excited about these because they've been not too long in the making, but been a couple months of waiting on getting these in. And I think just based on my little bit of testing, they're going to be pretty nice. Just got the announcement from Canon Keys on Discord. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And then it looks like Maker Mods is going to be streaming some later today as well. Nice. That's going to be awesome. I'm excited to hear more people's opinions. I'm excited for these to get out and see kind of how they compare to other switches and what people think about them. Because I feel like the MoU Black as a switch hasn't been adopted quite as heavily as maybe it should, just because it's not as available. So hopefully these being available will be will make them get a little bit more traction in the community, and people will see, hey, these are pretty freaking cool. Yeah, and go follow Maker Mods. He's doing a build later tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern time, or 10 p.m. Central, 10:30 Central. Been daily driving them for a few weeks, and they are chefs. They are the chef's kiss. Oof. So he's got them before I do. That's hell yeah. I'm excited. So I'm glad that you are enjoying them. And if for those of you in chat who haven't had a chance to try the newer Duroc and JWK switches that are pre-lubed, like the Lavenders or the Dark Amber T1s, the stock lube's pretty good. It's like pretty freaking good. Based on these versus like the silk switches that were that are available at Canon Keys, I mean not Canon Keys, Novel Keys, I would say they're just as good, if not better, as far as the lubing, and the full nylon housings definitely do a great job of being extremely smooth stock. Like prior to this, what I had, the build that I had in this Bakken Neko was Lavenders with a 63.5 gram Symmetric Springs. And I didn't do anything to them. I just lubed the springs and that was it. And they felt great. Do you know if the springs are factory lubed? On these, I do not believe that they are. So that's kind of one of those things that we're going to try out today. How do these compare to the Neapolitan switches? It's a little bit different. They are a little bit different. The Neapolitan is going for more of a Zyko. Is going for more of a Zyko complement, like going for that Zyko feel. And one of the big things that's the difference between a MoU Black and a Zyko is that the MoU Black, and in turn the Anubis Switch, because it is a MoU Black stem, it completes the full, like you have a small bit of post travel, whereas with a Zyko or a Neapolitan, it doesn't really it finishes it, but there's no post travel after the bump. It's just basically from the second you're pressing that switch down until it actuates, until you bottom out, it's solid bump. Whereas the MoU Black have like a split second of post travel And in turn, these will have that as well. But yeah, it sounds unique. So this is basically a Moyu Black stem, but then nylon housing with an opaque top and a translucent bottom, which will change that sound slightly. So it'll be, it sounds pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. It sounds pretty freaking good. And I'm excited for everyone to hear it. Kind of sounds like a blue velvet as far as travel. I have never even heard of the blue velvet, but sure. There are so many switches these days that, like, I'm not sure. There's so many different options that are out there that I feel like every day there's something new. Granted, we just added another one. David Lynch switches. From Dang Keebs. Really nice post-travel. Interesting. So the housing is identical to the Cerulean / Lavenders. It's got a... Basically... So the Cerulean and the Lavenders, I believe the Cerulean is also full clear housing. Yes, so it's the same bottom, but with an opaque top, which will change, even though it is the same material, that still will change your sound there. Stupid bullets, you got them in hand, and you're pretty excited. Yeah, Cerulean is full translucent, so having the opaque top is going to make it slightly deeper of a sound than the Ceruleans or the Lavenders. Which was the main thoughts behind the Zyko and the Neapolitan was to use that opaque top to get a slightly darker sound, so it's not quite as snappy. It's a little bit darker, but you still get the snap on the downstroke. It's nice. What switches are in your iron? So that is that. Funnily enough, this actually has Zykos. So we can, I guess, do a side-by-side in terms of sound. This will be slightly different. Obviously, the iron has a brass plate. This is an FR4 plate, so it's a little bit different in sound, just inherently due to the plate material. Obviously, if you're not familiar, if you use an FR4 or a plastic-based plate, it's not going to be as bright as a metal plate, whether you're using steel, aluminum, or brass. Yeah, I'm thinking that a lot of people will enjoy these switches because I think they'll be a little bit unique in the fact that not many people have experience with the Moyu Blacks just due to their availability. Obviously, they were on drop as the Everglide Dark Jades, but this makes them, I think, a little bit better in sound, and that's why I did bust out my Moyu Blacks as well, so we can see exactly what the changes in the sound characteristics are, at least in this board, and see how different. Obviously, those are stock, so we'll see how different they feel with that factory lube. Because if you know anything about the Durock and JWK factory, is that they've continued to innovate on their switch mold, and things have just gotten better and better. If you go back and you look at the original T1s, the ones that said KBD fans on them, versus the dark amber T1s now, they are miles of difference. Miles of difference in quality, feel, sound, like everything. It's just overall world's better switches now that Durock's putting out. So yeah, I would buy these if my 4 fingers could handle the tactility. Yeah, I mean, it is a very tactile switch, but it's also a nice feeling switch. Like, it's not, I don't know, it's not too over the top. I think it's funny because all of this increase in tactility and, Psychos and Neapolitans and all of them are trying to chase the Alps brown. At least that was the intention with the Psychos. It's interesting. It's interesting. Yeah, I love my T1s, but they're lubed, filmed, spring swapped, etc. So much work. Yeah, exactly. The OG T1s needed so much. You could take the top, or you could take the switch, and you could move it. It would, when you did this with the switch, it would visibly move. Whereas this does not move at all. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of wobble going on between the top and the bottom. There's really no wobble, comparatively to the switches they were putting out, year and a half, 2 years ago. It's pretty crazy to see them improve to that level. But yeah, we've got this. We got all the switches in here, and yeah, any love for light tactility switches? Yeah, there's a lot. There's more light tactile switches coming out. I mean, obviously, I guess nothing. How do you feel they compare to the U4Ts? I haven't tried them against the U4Ts quite yet. This is my first true impression. I haven't put these in a board. I got these yesterday, so I don't have a ton of experience with these. This is me experiencing these for the first time. So as much as this is a first look for y'all, this is kind of a first look for me, and we're going to be discovering exactly how I want to use these switches in my future builds. So as far as comparing them to a lot of things, I have some small comparisons just because I've used a little bit of it. I kind of, when Dave came over and dropped them off yesterday, I did some light testing and stuff. So I kind of have an idea of how they would feel against different things, but not super educated experience on them. So Mickagee, what up? How you doing? All right. I think this is my favorite part about the Bakaneko. Just putting it in is it's just so simple. Just boom, there we go. I can do AB with U4Ts and Neapolitans tonight if you're interested. There you go. Of course, give a follow over to Mr. Maker Mods. As was stated in the announcement in Discord from Cannon Keys, he is going to be doing a build with these switches tonight as well. So, all right, let's get these caps on here. Let's do a first kind of run through, and then we'll take some out. We'll probably use the middle row, and we will change some springs. We'll do some additional lubing, and we'll see kind of how that adjusts the switches. And then we'll also bring in a MoU black, and maybe I can grab some other switches, and we can try them out. We can try them out, let you listen, and see what you think, because I think these just based off my first impressions, I think these are pretty strong contenders. As far as tactile, if you're looking for a pretty tactile Switch, I think these are going to be pretty up there for a lot of people. Someone asked, how does spring weight affect tactility on the same Switch? D-Flow, the heavier the spring, the tactility will slightly reduce. If you use say like in the Switch like this, right? It comes with 65 gram springs. If you drop that down to like 55, you might start running into some issues where it won't return correctly. Or it'll take a really long time. The tactile is going to be huge. So if you lower that spring weight, the tactility is going to go up, right? Because it's not using, your fingers aren't needing to input as much force in order to bottom out that Switch. So it's, you don't have the reverse interaction of a heavier spring, like a 78 gram is going to feel slightly lighter in tactility comparatively to like a 65 in the same Switch. Alrighty, got our Ono cap. I really wanted to get Moyu Blacks, but the sound was just way too clacky for me, so this seems like it would be nice. Exactly, I think that was a lot of people's issues with the Moyu Blacks in general. And so that was one of the things that I had a gripe with about them as well. And so I think this Switch will kind of take some of that away. Risky Din, thank you for the follow. Thank you for all the follows, guys, by the way. A lot of new follows, a lot of new viewers of the stream today. Appreciate y'all checking these out. And if you're not familiar with Mechs on Deck, I am actually just one half of Mechs on Deck. I do have a partner in crime. His name is Dave, aka Chewy. He's designed the Baka and the Squid 60, as well as was the initial creator of the Zyko switches, which you may be familiar with. But we do a talk show every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central. This week we're actually doing it together. We're celebrating our 100th episode, which will be a lot of fun. So he's gonna come over here. We're gonna hang out. We're gonna talk about keyboards. We're gonna talk about kind of some of our favorite episodes, some things that maybe a little bit of behind the scenes on specific episodes that maybe you didn't know. So it should be a lot of fun. So come hang out with us Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central. It'll be a fun time. And then every Wednesday, but not this Wednesday, but typically every Wednesday we have an interview stream where we have a member from the community come on and talk about things that are happening, things that they do, and their stance on the community. This past week I had Quakums from Top Clack on, fellow content creator, and we talked a lot about entry level, what we like to see, and how it's changed over the past couple of years, where the significance of the different boards that have come out, such as the Bakaneko, kind of their impact. But we got a big stream this upcoming Friday. It's a subathon, but it's like we're doing what we have somewhat dubbed the garage sale giveaway. Also, Dibble Day, thank you for the 3 gifted subs, dude. Appreciate it. Congrats to Radar Noise, Sancho Panza, and Stiletto. You are the winners of the 3 gifted subs. But this upcoming Friday evening, we are going to be doing a subathon that we have dubbed as the garage sale giveaway. Basically, Dave and I have got a ton of things that we don't need. A bunch of stuff that we are just like, we're not going to use this. It's better that we give it away. Let people who are going to enjoy it use it. So we have tons of switches, desk mats, springs, cap sets. We've even got a full keyboard. It's gonna be a fun time. It's gonna be a 24-hour stream if we can get there. So we're gonna be giving away lots of stuff. So come hang out with us, and that's next Friday. Stay tuned to our Discord for an exact time of when that will be going live. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. We're also gonna be giving away some Anubis switches. So yeah, that'll be a fun one to check out. Garage sale, people clap. Gosh, the Peepo. I love the Peepo emotes. I'll win. Just add it to my collection. Yellow, not the. Exactly. Hopefully people will get these switches and enjoy it. It was funny. Dave came over yesterday and I gave him I think I gave him 6 packs of switches, 2 desk mats, a whole bunch of springs. What else did he take? Some keycap cases, some keycaps, 2 keycap sets. So yeah, feels wrong for us to hoard stuff that we're not using, we don't need. And it feels even more wrong if we were to sell it. So, especially if it's stuff that we got for free. Some of it's actually stuff that we paid for that we just don't need anymore, that we just aren't going to use. For whatever reason, I bought 300 silk switches of the black silks. I don't need them. Why I bought that many, I don't know. And if there's a Fecker Holy Panda giveaway, I'll have to ask Chewy. I don't know what happened with the Feckers. I don't know if they are still in his possession or if he sent them to someone else. Yellow Nazi, thank you. Appreciate it. Dun, 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 dun. The Fecker Holy Pandas, dude. Nothing like buying your switches from Walmart. Good afternoon, Static Age. How you doing? Yes, the Switch does look nice. A little close up for him before I fill up those last 3. But we're even though I'm putting caps on, if you're just tuning in, we're not done yet. All right. We are going to be doing some testing with these. We're going to check out these switches versus others, as well as figuring out exactly what my preferred spring, lube, and everything is for these switches. All right. The latest Fecker packaging is pretty nice, better than Drop's packaging. Metaverse looking so good. Dude, it really does. I had the Chewy Artisan with the little red dot, and I think this looks even better. I liked the little flick of color from the red dot, but the Ono cap is just so cute. If you're not familiar with Ono caps, it is designed by Ono, who's the significant other of Apiary keyboards. Good dude, beats me in Overwatch all the time. yeah, and makes great, cute little caps. Ooh. These even just like these are 100% stock, and these feel really good, like 100% stock, like not even the springs lubed. All right, let's let you hear. Let's let you hear. Let me take down the music. Let me get my mic muted. All right, these sound really, really good, especially for like 100% stock. 100% stock. These are available now. Zan Barbone, if you do exclamation point Anubis, they're in stock right now. 65 cents a switch, which is pretty crazy. Yeah, they sound really good. Let's all right, now the testing can commence. One more typing test? Sure. We'll do a little tape, a little pitter patter on the keys for you. Pitter patter, let's get at her. All right. How does the tactility feel in comparison to other popular tactiles? Good. It's a strong tactility. You have, it's not sharp. It's not something like a blueberry switch where it's going to be, really sharp tactility. It's decently rounded. If you're not familiar with the lilacs or the T1s, or basically the Moyu Black Stem is a longer poled T1. So it bottoms out faster. Which is why it's I think having that translucent bottom is important, because this is a switch you're going to bottom out fairly often and fairly hard. So that translucent bottom changing from an opaque bottom changes the way that switch really sounds, because it's got a nice bottom out sound that's snappy but not too bright, and then the return is nice and clear but still deep sounding. It's not quite as bright as what like the dark amber T1s are, or it's kind of the reason why I enjoyed the lilacs as much as I did, was because it was a nice even feel, I think, or even sound. I think this is even more even by changing these. So all right, let's do some testing. We've got what I think is going to be my favorite configuration, which is going to be Symmetric Springs. If you're not familiar with Symmetric Springs, what they do, they're the long boy springs. These are the 69 gram variant from Kinetic Labs. 69, nice. Basically what this does is you can use a lighter spring but have a more aggressive snap to the switch, which also changes the way it sounds. The return will be a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more concise. What this does, at least to me, in the way that it feels for me, it makes it to where the switch can be a lighter spring, and you can have the benefits of the lighter spring on the downstroke, but then the upstroke, you have the benefits of what you would get from using a heavier spring, such as like a 74 or 78 gram spring, without having to use a heavier downstroke. So it's really nice. It's really nice. So I'm going to try these out, as well as bust out lube. Got some GPL 105. We're going to mess around with, we'll say, these four. So we're going to leave one stock. We're going to do stock with lubed spring. We're going to do stocked lubed housing. We'll do lubed spring, lubed housing, and then okay, no. So we'll do lubed spring and housing, symmetric spring, lubed spring, and lubed housing, symmetric spring. Okay, so these four is what we'll change. So let me do this here. And dude, this is why, as someone who's been in the community forever, not forever, it feels like forever, for multiple years, I have a ton of boards. Like, obviously I've got an Iron 165, one of the most sought after boards in the community right here. I'm using a $130 board because I can do stuff like this. Like this, at my point in the community, doing stuff like this is a lot of fun. Being able to mess around with switches, try it out. If you don't have a board like a Bakaneko, something that you can use a hot swap to try out switches, try out different springs, try out different lube applications, go get one. When the Bakaneko comes back, you can get one. They're super cheap, comes with a case and everything. But yeah, if you have a sheet of paper, honestly, write out which switch is which and what you're doing to it. Yes. Okay. Good idea. Good idea. I just have to get my pen. All right. Some overly expensive paper with my Clairefontaine. If you know about paper, you know it's good paper. I mill-maxed my Jane V2 CE for testing switches. Should I get a Bakaneko still? I think you'd probably be okay at that point. Let me grab a pen real quick. Weird flex, yeah, weird flex. But hey, Clairefontaine, good paper. How do these compare to Neapolitans? Chewy, I think he was talking about the paper, talking about the quality of Clairefontaine paper. All right, so we'll make a little guide here. So the F. So F, and then G, H, J, G, H, and J. Okay, so F is going to be lubed spring. Sorry, my handwriting is terrible. Oh, Anna is putting together a force graph comparing a lot of the switches. Shout outs to Anna. Appreciate it. Are you also into pins? I never knew. I'm guessing you've seen the meme comparing keyboards to the pin hobby. Yeah, I'm not really like into pins. I just have like I bought the like pack of these shark pins that are nice and they're super cheap and they work really well. What did we say J was? This is going to be 69 gram sim spring. And then lubed 3204 housing. Lubed spring. And I can't do an ampersand. And housing. And then H, we said, is just going to be a 69 gram sim spring. Okay. Here's our cheat sheet. I know it might be a little hard to read. Let's pull these switches out. Did I just throw that switch? I think I... All right. Maybe them to Neapolitans tonight, but I prefer these. Yeah. Right here. Okay. So we've got, get these two springs out. Okay. We're going to be lubing the springs with GPL 105. It's you versus the guy she tells you not to worry about. Sorry, I had to make a joke. All right. Just get a couple drops of this in there. Okay. And this is what I use to lube springs in. This is actually a container for electrical tape. I find it's really nice for this. It works really, really well. I know a lot of people use different containers. I enjoy this. If you've got what kind of tape? A Scotch colored electrical tape. Comes in these little things. Great for lube and springs. All right. So let's do our 2 that are just stock with the lubed spring. All right, so that's F. No, bro, you've got Scotch. For whatever reason, I somehow acquired like 4 or 5 different variants of Scotch electrical tape. 4 different colors. But hey, it's okay. All right. Come on. All right, we don't need you. With our handy brush. You can purchase these brushes over at Kinetic Labs. This is size 0. I'm not going to go super heavy with this lube just because I don't think that it really needs it. But I do know, like, typically at this point, with the way that switches are, they're so smooth from the factory. I almost, more often than not, don't even lube, like, the actual stem itself. I'll just lube the rails. Obviously, these do have a stock lube, so you're just adding a little bit more. If you wanted to do this the most, the most ideal way possible would be to take these and maybe ultrasonic clean them so you can get that factory lube out. But for sake of time, and sound, I'm not going to do that today. So let's get our spring here. Those tapes are good for taping the flex cuts on the PCBs. True. All right, so now when we do this, we're going to go out of our way to make sure we avoid lubing the legs. I know someone was asking earlier about how you make a super tactile switch less tactile. That is an easy way to do it. But we are just going to lube these sliders. Which I can tell there already is some on here, but we're just going to add a little bit more to it. And then boom. One down. Okay. All right. Let's see here. So what are you guys thinking so far? I saw some people in chat when I did the first sound test, were like, all right, I'm buying them. What are your thoughts? How tactile are they? Close to Zeal switches or less? I would say they're pretty up there. I would say they're about on par with a Zeal V2. with the Zelio V2. If you're into the longer pole switches, using these would be a solid option for you. How do you compare these to Kiwis? Well, again, it's similar tactility as far as Kiwis are concerned, I believe. I believe that Kiwis use a T1 stem. Don't quote me on that. I'm not super familiar with products released by the Key company, but I know that they're made by Duroc. These will have a longer pull, so you'll have a quicker bottom out and a fairly harsh bottom out at that, due to that polling. Sprit 210 springs. Let's do it. Wow. God, these springs are so insanely long. Look at how long that is. Alrighty. Okay. Let's get these lined up. So again, if you are just joining, we've already put in the stock switches, and now we're doing some variations of the Anubis switches. So we've got 4 different variants of the switch. Mind if I ask a question about long pull switches? Still feel like I should know this already, but I feel silly for asking. Go ahead, man. Ask away, my dude. Where are you based out in Texas? Dallas? Lots of Keep enthusiasts in Austin, Dallas. Need the same love. Yeah, I'm in Dallas, man. Both Chewy and myself are in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Just Soulful, thank you for the follow. And Node _ thank you for the follow as well. Oh man. Okay. I'm gonna take some of these other caps off just so you can see what the switches look like. Show them off a little bit, you know? Looking forward to the Anubis switches. Just Soulful, thank you, man. I'm excited that you're excited. All right. So. Okay. I guess technically we have 5 variants. We'll see how much lubing springs changes the way that the switch sounds. All right. Okay. We'll make a little island for our testing. All right. Let me add one here. We'll add a D. A stock. Any first thoughts on them? I like them. I think they sound really, really good. Let's get you in a little bit closer. Let me go over just a little bit. Boom, there we go. Maybe you can read. Sorry, my handwriting is terrible. I know it looks like a 4-year-old wrote it, but you know what? I may be pushing 30 and have the handwriting of a 4-year-old and type like not very fast, but hey, you know, it is what is it. It is what it is. If I get this right, long pole refers to the guide pole of the stem. Does it only affect acoustics, or does it also reduce the bottom out in some way of the switch? So you bottom out faster with a longer pole. So it reduces the travel distance of the switch. And the reason it affects the sound is not because it changes the sound in any way inherently, but because the travel distance is shorter, you're bottoming out more aggressively than you would, so it's going to be a little bit louder than what you would normally expect because you're hitting it, I think, what, 0.6 millimeters faster. That was the whole thing of like when they had the Cherry Speed Silvers. It wasn't actually a faster switch. They just lowered the bottom out, so it actuated. So you're actuating it at a different point. And it feels like you're moving faster, but in reality, it's like it's not actually going any faster. It's not even really actuating any faster either. The only way you're going to increase your actuation or lower your actuation time would be lowering spring weight, which is what they also did, because it's easier to fully bottom out the switch. When you mix those two, you get a switch that's really harsh, which if you've ever messed around with Speed Silvers and you're someone who enjoys like a middle to higher spring weight switch, something like a Speed Silver is going to feel really gross. All right, let's do some testing. This is your guide. All right. Someone, I just got a package delivered. So, but yeah, Anubis was freaking out. All right. So I saw some people in chat saying that they did like F, J, D, J. Chewy says J. Honestly, I think that I just love Symmetric Springs at this point. Like, this is my second time messing around with them. Last time I streamed a build, I was messing around with Symmetric Springs and Lavenders. I just love the way that they give you it kind of even rounds out this bump even more. I think if you're going to buy these switches and you wanted to spring swap them and you weren't a fan of the 65 gram springs, I would get the 69 gram Symmetric Springs. I think you can't go wrong with that. Even if you just lube the springs and throw them in this switch, you're set. Like, this feels fantastic. It feels super, super clean, super even. It rounds out the bump just slightly, and it just makes it feel milky. Milky. I don't think that's not really what it feels like. How are the springs on linears in your experience? I think the linear springs are the Symmetric Springs and linears are fantastic. I just like the Symmetric Springs. I like the way that bottom out. I like the way that the return just is snappier. Now, the difference between H and J, so H being 69 gram Symmetric Spring lubed versus lubed housing with 3204. I think if you want the switch to be just a touch darker, if you get it if you're doing testing, you test it out in a plate and you're like, this is really bright. I think the really benefit of lubing this switch is not even that it needs the smoothness. It's that you make the switch just a touch darker, just a touch. Yeah, I think it's, yeah. And so as far as how the Anubis Switch in the stock form, which is D here, compares to a lot of other switches, Upos and Anna have done a quick, different, force graphs that I can show here. So let me get these saved. Force. And then I can pull these up and show you. How do these compare to the Everglide Dark Jades? I'll show you here in a second. Let me get these graphs up so you can take a look at these two graphs. All right. Image. Force 1. Okay. That's really big. Let me make it smaller. All right. So this is, so in the yellow, you've got the Anubis Switch. You got it versus the Neapolitan. None of these were filmed at all. Nothing, no films, just what you see right here. But you probably can't read my Papega handwriting. It'd also help if it was in focus. It doesn't want to focus on anything but the board. So we had stock. F was lubed spring and housing. G, symmetric lubed spring. 69 gram lube spring and 3204 lubed housing. All right. So you can see here, in terms of the press, this switch is along the same lines as the lilac, a little bit different. Cerulean, you can see, is slightly different. It's basically, it's like between a lilac and it's basically a lilac up and down. But until it gets towards the end. Do you normally lube? I just tub lube them in this. I don't do anything additional. I just tub lube them. I do like close to a dot, I guess, or what is a drip, a drop. That's the right word. Close to a drop, about like 3/4 of a drop per spring. It's probably a little bit more than I should, but hey, it all goes in there. It's fine. It evens out, and I just shake them up. But yeah, you can see it's very close. It differs in the Neapolitan and the bottom out. I have them in the cart. We are talking new switches. So this is how it compares to those 4 switches on the press. And then let me show you how it compares on the release. So again, you see here, the release for these is slightly different. You see the Anubis Switch. In fact, let me get it open for me so I can kind of zoom in on my own here. Let me know if you want to if you want me to make that a little bit bigger. You can see that the Anubis Switch is fairly consistent. Like, it's very even and it doesn't have as much wave. The other switch that has that similar, relatively consistent line is the Neapolitan. You do have a little bit of a waver between 1 and 2, where it's not quite as linear of a decrease in force. But then it comes back and it's just right in line with a lot of the other switches. Yeah, I'm not the best at reading force curve graphs. Someone who is way smarter than me could probably make a better explanation out of this. But yeah. Do y'all want me to change this one? Put a MoU black in here and see how that feels? See the difference in the sound that the housing and the materials make? Let's do that. Where's S? All right, let's do that. Okay. We're making a document on our site going into more detail on how to read the differences. I think it'll be helpful for some. Yeah, like me, my Pega brain. All right. So now this is kind of out the window. Let me get the force curve graph out of here. All right. So for those of you who don't know, the MoU Black is the same as a Everglide Dark Jade. Where's my drop page? So this switch, let me find. Okay, so this is a palm stem with a PBT upper and lower housing. So you're going to have quite an intense difference in terms of the way it sounds due to that housing material. So it being a PBT upper and lower, it will change. It's going to be a lot. You're going to see it's quite a bit brighter. The Anubis Switch is nylon with a translucent bottom and an opaque top. This is PBT, full opaque. These are 67 grams. So let's hear how it sounds. So we've got So you've got Moyu Black on S, and then everything else is listed here as far as the different variants of the Anubis Switch. So keep in mind, S, by the way, if you just join S, is a Moyu Black. So it's the same stem from that are in the Anubis. So it has a similar feel. I know someone was asking how they compare and feel. It feels very similar, if not the same. They do feel a little bit better than the stock Moyu Blacks, just because they have that newer stock lube from the factory that wasn't available when the Moyu Blacks released. I'm not sure if newer batches of Moyu Blacks do have that stock lube, but mine don't, because they're older. I purchased these at the very beginning of this year, and they're not scratchy from factory, but they are less smooth than the Anubis switches are from factory. Keep in mind with this specific sound test, obviously take it with a grain of salt, compare it to itself, right? Like, that's the thing, is like, you understand this is what the stock switch sounds like in this exact build, and this is what these variations change that stock switch in this exact build. Also, with this being an FR4 plate, that PBT housing, and one of the gripes with the Moyu Black was how bright of a switch it is. PBT as a material is a fairly, in comparison to nylon, skews a little bit brighter, especially like opaque nylons. So the PBT, that was a lot of people's gripes, is that the PBT housing was too bright. And I think I like obviously you could hear the PBT was much brighter than the nylon housings for the Anubis switch. I think for me, I prefer this variant. I think it's going to be the best long run feel and sound, and this is the 69 gram Symmetric Spring lubed with 3204. I don't think that the lube is 100% necessary. I think you can get away with just the 69-gram symmetric spring. I think it still feels really good. You get a touch more tactility, like just a touch more. Obviously, that'll change on your lubing style. I would definitely, if you purchase the Anubis Switch, which I hope you do, I would hope that you would try them stock and try them with a, if you're planning to spring swap them, try them with a lube spring and just try them because they are so good. Just like the lavenders, they are so good stock. And Jedi Junior, yes, these are the 69-gram symmetric springs available from kineticlabs.store/Mechs on Deck. Big fan of symmetric springs. Yeah, I kind of want to use them in everything at this point because I really do enjoy the symmetric springs. So if you haven't had a chance to try out symmetric springs, definitely do that. But yeah, these switches, the Anubis switches, are available now over at canonkeys.com/Mechs on Deck. It's canonkeys.com/product/Anubis-switch !reference ref equals Mechs on Deck. I'm used to Xylent V2s. Would I be underwhelmed by these in terms of tactility? No, you would not be underwhelmed in terms of tactility. Now, if you are someone who really enjoys the way that if you are someone who really enjoys...
Are they the best thing since sliced bread?
Really enjoys the way that Xylent V2s sound, you won't like these. These are much louder. Very different sound. Top Black, thank you for the tier 1 for 19 months. Appreciate it. I'm assuming that's Brian. More often than not it is. Are these the greatest things since sliced bread? You know, maybe. They might be. You might just have to buy them to find out. Oh, sound isn't the issue. I've been trying Gat Yells. Remember how much I missed the loud clack. Exactly. Okay. I think you would enjoy these. If you are a fan of Zelio or Xylent's V2s, you will like this Switch. If you are a fan of T1s and Holy Pandas, you'll like this Switch. It's like a Moyu, but slightly a deeper sound, darker sound. It will sound great in an aluminum or a brass plate. My camera is just dying right now. I don't know why. I mean, if you like tactiles, you might like this Switch, but if you don't like heavy tactiles or intense tactiles, you won't like this Switch because it's got a lot of tactility to it. Compared to U4T Bobas, I don't have any U4T Bobas. The only other thing that I could compare them to would be Zycos in a non-similar plate, which I guess we could do, but it not being the same plate would be difficult to like really convey the differences in sound. But in terms of feel versus a Zyco, in terms of feel versus a Zyco, I mean, yeah, we can do the sound comparison versus the Zyco. Let's do that. Also, this board is so much heavier. Holy shit. So I'll do this Switch versus these. Did I miss the full board sound test? Yeah, you did. But I can do it. I'll take out all the variants that I did and show it to you after this. Because I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 variants of switches. So All right. So yeah, I mean, they sound good. It's hard to exactly convey the difference in sound between these two switches because they're not in similar builds at all, right? These Zycos are in a brass plate, the gasket mounted brass plate. Obviously this is somewhat gasket mounted with the O-ring mount, but the FR4 plate will really change. I will say they will sound really good. The fact that they sound fairly dark in the FR4 plate and deep sounding is going to make them sound really good once you put it in a metal plate, because the metal plate will add that crispness, that pop. I would say, let's see, how much are, let me see. So the Anubis Switch is 65 cents a switch. With a, let's see, 110. So for $60, you can get the 69 gram Symmetric Springs and 70 Anubis switches and have a fantastic feeling switch that's super high in tactility. Is it going to be the same tactility as what you would get from a Zyco? No. The Zyco, it has no post travel. It is just bump, 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 gone. Bump, 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 bottom out. Bump, bump, bump. Like you get to the point where the switch is about to stop the bump. Like you can feel the bump is done, and then you're at the bottom of the switch. The Anubis Switch, you feel it. You feel that harsh end. It's just after. It's just after. So you feel that bump end, and you have that resolution of the bump, and then the switch bottoms out. It's not very far, which you can see in the graphs that were provided. That you have, I think, what is it, like half a millimeter of you have like half a millimeter of switch left after the bump. So yeah, it's not the same feel. Was not the intention, was try to create something that was like the Zyco. But yeah, I think I think this is a great Switch. I'm really excited that they're out. I think it really kind of makes the Moyu Black that I already enjoyed better. I think it sounds much better. I can't wait to get these in a metal plate to mess with them. Yeah, I can't wait to get them in a metal plate, see how they sound in a brass plate. I know Chewy will be building his Proto Baka 70 on Friday. At some point Friday, he will be building his Baka 70 with these switches. So that'll be a brass plate and an aluminum board, which will be really cool to see how they sound there. I think they're going to sound great. Again, these switches are available now over at canonkeys.com. So if you haven't yet, go check out the Anubis switches. They are available in quantities of $45.50 for 70, $58.50 for 90, and then $71.50 for 110. Yeah. Oh, let me do I know Brian wanted a full board test. Let me put these off to the side. These have been the ones that are different. Talking about Overwatch. I like to play as the Centaur lady. Dude, the horse. Marissa the horse. Those 5 are not stock. We'll get back to fully stock on this build as I launch a keycap across the desk. I will say for these, what I will be doing with my Anubis switches is I will be spring swapping them to the 69 gram Symmetric Springs and lightly lubing that housing. And I may not lube the stem. I might just lube the housing with 3204 and then go from there. I don't like the lady and the robot that much. You're talking about, you don't like Diva? You're not a fan of Diva? Oh. I think so. She has the robot that you jump out of, yeah. That's Diva. AKA Abracadaniel's main. I might have to pick up the 110 just to play around with lube and methods. Yeah. I will say I'm going to be using these as stock for a while. This board, the Baka Neko, has sat on my desk for 2 weeks since I built it, and it's gonna stay here as I mess around with switches. This is I'm very happy that I have a board finally that I can do testing like this on. I also have an ultrasonic cleaner, so I can clean off switches if I decide I don't like something, which is really nice. All right. I'm loving my Baka Neko. I used it all week, which I never do with a board. Yeah, dude. Hell yeah. So, dude, someone in chat can shame me for this board, right? Right? Fancy looking board, right? Real nice, real nice. I put giant ass bump-ons on it. I'm sorry. The little tiny ones. One fell out, and I was like, all right, switching to giant ones. Thick. All right. Let's do a quick little sound test with the full stock Anubis switches again, so you can hear kind of what it sounds like. And then I'll find someone to host, and we'll raid someone, send you over somewhere nice, somewhere fun, and then I gotta go get ready. I gotta go to a wedding tonight, so gotta go get ready for that. So let me do the mic first. Sorry, there is a little bit of noise in the stabilizers on this. I've done some testing with different lubes and stuff. So I've actually like cleaned and lubed these stabs like multiple times, so they're not like 100% perfect. So that's why there is some rattle in the stabs a little bit. But overall, I think these sound really, really good, especially for stock. Like, did you try? I'm trying them out. I've tried. I haven't tried one yet, Upas, because I'm afraid that that's going to, if that makes a mess, it's going to fluorescent red my entire keyboard. Yeah. That's aggressive. That spark plug grease from an auto store did me wonders. Any rhyme or reason other than the cool name of these naming of these Anubis switches? So, if you're not familiar, before we end, if you're not familiar with why these switches are named the Anubis Switch, if you don't know, I have a dog. His name is Anubis, and he is kind of asleep right now. Come here, bud. Come here, bud. Come here. Big stretch. Come on. So this is Anubis. The namesake for the switches. He's a tired boy because we went on a long walk this morning. But this is Anubis, as he is like, I'm gonna go back to sleep now, Dad. He likes to sit by the window. Does he come with the switches? No, unfortunately not. He likes to sit by the window and watch the cars drive by and lay in his bed. He can do tricks. Maybe I'll give him a treat. Let me grab him a treat. Anubis, you want a cookie? All right, bud. Actually, go out here. We can show off, okay? Sit. Sit. You're not. Sit. Sit. Grandpa. Lay down. Down. Yeah. Take it. Oh, well. So yeah, that's Anubis. He's a good boy. He knows all the tricks. He can high five. He can shake. He doesn't just snatch the treat. He's I've learned him well, I feel like, for the most part. But yeah. Again, if you are interested in the Anubis switches, they are available now over at canonkeys.com. Yeah, until he sees Dave. He does freak out when he sees Dave. And yeah, then he loses his shit. I don't know, Dave. I don't know if you noticed it. He was being a dick when we were trying to take him out yesterday when we were walking. And then the second you got in your car and you walked away, like when I was walking back with him, perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. I don't know what it is. Just Dave brings out the worst in him, I guess. But yes, if you are interested in the Anubis switches, they are available now at canonkeys.com. Go check them out. 65 gram spring, all nylon housing, palm stem, translucent bottom. There's some dog hair there. Get that off. Does not look translucent, but I guarantee you it is in fact a translucent bottom, opaque top, Moyu black stem. Looks good, I think. It's in our colorway. It would be kind of a shame if I didn't like the colorway, but I think it looks pretty good. Sounds really good and feels great even from factory. They are factory lubed. Let's see. Who can we send you on over to? I know there's probably quite a few people streaming right now. So let's take a gander at what we can do for you. Who's going in the makers and crafting section? Dude, Tim Keyless is still going. Ocho_T, thank you for the follow. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Been waiting for a new tactile. Excited for it? Hell yeah. Bring the build back. You can see it. Hey, thanks for the expose on these switches. Good stuffs. My pleasure, man. My pleasure. All right. I'm going to send you on over to Halloween boards. He's building a Project Nebula version S. Ukulele Dad. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for coming by and saying hi. Bluff Lambs. Yes, it is a Baka Neko 60. But yeah, so with that being said, we are closing up tonight. We'll be back again on Tuesday for our 100th episode of Mechs on Deck. So come hang out. Chewy and I, or Dave and myself, are going to be hanging out here at my apartment. It's going to be in person. It's our first in-person show since we did the 24-hour stream last April. So April of 2020. I believe it's our first in-person one. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be reminiscing on the history of the show, talking about things in the community, talking about different things that have happened throughout the 2+ years of Mechs on Deck at this point. And then there was no Wednesday stream this week, but Friday we are doing a garage sale subathon, the garage giveaway subathon. We're giving away a bunch of stuff that we have that we don't need anymore. Some of it has never even been used. Some of it's been used very, very lightly. So we're gonna have cap sets, tons of switches, desk mats, a full keyboard. One of our viewers donated a GMK set to give away. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So coming out with us on Friday. Stay tuned to our Discord for that. But I am going to raid Mr. Halloween boards. But yes, I will see y'all all on Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central. You'll have a fantastic rest of your Saturday, and hope you have even better Father's Day. To all the dads out there, thank you and happy Father's Day. Bye-bye.